Broadcasting live from somewhere in the Shadow Realm, this is YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Here's your host, Doug Dimmaduel.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of YuGiOh Duel Links Talk. Today's episode is going to focus on the newest event that just came out on August 29th. It's going on through September 11th, and it's called Duelist Chronicles Set Sail for the Kingdom. Now, this has been the event that's been kind of teased for the last week or two, and we all knew it was coming, and we all knew kind of what to expect, but at the same time, we didn't really know what to expect. So that's why today's episode is going to go into more of the details about this thing. But it is really cool, and it's a nice little change up from, I guess, the typical legendary duelist events that we're used to, where you collect map pieces and you duel somebody and you go from there. Well, Duel Links is now taking it a step further, and with their recent update, now they're adding a new kind of board game function, kind of aspect to the whole storylines now, and this one is really cool, and I'm just going to kind of go through what it is here. It's you roll your dice and have a go at Duelist Kingdom. So what this is really mimicking is that first season of Yu-Gi-Oh, where Yugi, Joey, Taya, everybody, they're all going through the Duelist Kingdom and trying to get to Maximilian Pegasus. This follows along with a lot of the same storyline, so as you go through each map on this board game, basically, you're going to end up kind of recreating some of those duels that were in Duelist Kingdom. Now, of course, you have the option to not necessarily follow through with maybe playing as the specific player and the specific deck that they want you to, but as an incentive for you to play those decks, you do get more coins, and the coins, they're called Millennium Coins, and they have a purpose, and I'll get to that in a minute. But now what I mean by these recreations of some of those epic duels is, say, for example, when Joey goes up against My Valentine, within Duel World, you're able to basically play as Joey, and it'll offer you a bunch of different goals to meet while you're going through the duel. One of which may be to use Time Wizard. The other one may be to inflict a certain amount of life point damage and all that stuff. So the more that you meet, the more bonus Millennium Coins you'll get. Or you could just use whatever deck you feel comfortable using best, and you go from there. But this also allows you multiple options to choose. Basically, the risk versus reward. You get to choose a different level of a lot of these characters. Once you get to the to the event duels, which are against those other legendary duels, you get to choose. Like, for example, at least from my end, I was able to choose between level 20 and level 40. Now, what's the difference between choosing between the two? It's the reward that you get. If you win against level 40 duelist, you'll get 150 Millennium Coins for winning those duels, and if you end up just going against a level 20, you'll get 75 Millennium Coins typically. Now, again, I'm not so far along within this yet, so maybe the numbers could change. But anyway, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here, because the whole name of the game is being able to play on the board. And how are you able to play on the board? You got to go back out into the regular Duel World, and this whole method should be very familiar because it's what we do all the time, and it's to actually collect dice fragments. And what they do is it basically acts as anything else from any of the other events, that you just got to accumulate these things by battling your standard duelists throughout Duel World. And eventually what you'll end up doing is, when you get into the board for the actual event, every 7 dice fragments that you get will allow you 1 dice roll. So what the dice roll is it allows you from a number between 1 to 3. That's how many spaces you'll be able to move on the board. And once you run out of dice fragments, you got to go back out into Duel World and start collecting more fragments to be able to roll the dice more. And then you'll be able to keep on progressing through the map at whatever rate you feel best at. So yeah, it's a really, really cool idea. And all along the way on the map, you'll run into other standard duelists, or you'll run into some bonus Millennium Coins, you'll run into some bonus chests, and also you'll get a few kind of storyline episodes, so to speak. I think there's 10 of them that you could collect, and just kind of recreate some of those famous scenes from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist, when they were going to the Duel Kingdom. The first one that I was able to unlock was basically a recreation of when Yugi and Weevil are on the boat, and Weevil throws all of Yugi's cards off the boat, well, not all of the cards, but the Exodia the Forbidden One pieces off the boat. So it really recreates that scene. It's really cool. I don't know. It's just a nice little addition to it. It seems like they're really staying true to the series and really staying true to that season. So it's a really nice thing. And all along the way too, as you progress through each zone, you will get a zone reward. for each time you complete one of the boards. And then once you end up beating the final duel zone, you'll get some pretty major rewards. The first one, of course, being what we kind of were all anticipating based off of recent news, and that's the you can unlock Yugi Muto. So unlocking Yugi, you'll be able to get some pretty cool cards along the way. We're gonna do, I guess we're gonna do an episode about Yugi once we unlock him, and kind of go from there. Because I'm almost there. I just got done with the labyrinth level, and I guess I got to go through the final world. It kind of feels like a bit of a Mario Brothers type of game, honestly, or I guess more so Mario Party, if anything. So that should be familiar. And so anyway, as you progress, you'll be able to get some really good cards, and as well too as a new thing, and it's called the Card Lottery. And what the Card Lottery is where all of these Millennium Coins come into play. So for a certain amount of Millennium Coins, you're able to basically draw a card, and it could potentially be anywhere from some really good super rare cards like Union Attack and Karibo and anything along those lines, to just gems, coins, gate keys. It could really be anything. So the more you rack up these coins, the more you're able to essentially just keep on trying your hand at some decent prizes. I haven't gotten really anything too good so far, but again, I just started, and I got a few gems here and there. So again, it's a pretty interesting take on a new way to accumulate rewards, and really does add more of that luck aspect to it as well, and pretty much acknowledging that through the actual literal name Card Lottery. It's really a lotto pick. But other than that, you're also, every time you log in once a day, you're able to get some additional dice fragments. And it says that the daily bonus resets at 1400 hours. That means 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So, that's just some free dice fragments. That's essentially 2 dice rolls right now. Now, as you advance past round 1, I don't know if it increases the amount of dice required during round 2 and round 3 and so on and so forth. But I'm not too sure. But seeing as just going up against standard duelists, the amount of dice fragments that you get for winning is a lot lower than what you would typically expect from when you're going up against standard duelists and you're collecting map pieces or Gate Guardian keys or all that stuff. It makes sense because each time you roll the dice, it's at a much lower rate than, say, the 40 map pieces that you needed to go up against Bakura at level 40 or something along those lines. That's probably why it's at a much lower amount of rewards or dice fragments every time that you win, but it is really cool. So what I want to do later on is just kind of go through some of those rewards at a later date, just to see what's good, what's not good, and probably pair that up with all of the level up rewards that you'll be able to get when you unlock Yugi. But again, this is just a really, really neat event that's happening right now. It's a step in the right direction for Duel Links. I think this is really refreshing, because I know there's only so many ways that you could set things up with duels and repetitive dueling and continuing at it, but it seems like Konami did a really good job of kind of just making this a little more fun, a little bit more luck based, a little more interactive. There's a lot of things that I like about this whole board situation. There's a few things that I don't like, and it's just well, I wouldn't even say that I don't like it. I think it's really cool, but the one thing I don't like is having Vagabond on the map in multiple places, because that's the last thing I want to see is that cheater on my board. But it doesn't stop your progression through the map, so it's really no harm, no foul. You still get some coins even if you lose to the Vagabond. But I'm sitting there going, come on, man, what are you doing here? I see you enough in Duel World. I don't want to see you on my event boards. But other than that, that's my only beef right now. But I figure the more that we play these types of events, the more good feedback and bad feedback we'll end up getting from folks on Twitter and on just playing the game. But it's Set Sail for the Kingdom is a really, really cool event so far, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So other than that, that's just kind of my quick overview of the event. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff that I missed, a whole bunch of details that I may have missed throughout the discussion. It's just kind of my first impressions of this event, and it's pretty awesome, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun playing this. And before I end this episode, the other little neat feature to it that I just noticed, and it wasn't for a few tweets that I was getting from and a few DMs that I was getting on Twitter from a few listeners, we're able to actually see the progression of a lot of the people who are on your friends list within Duel Links as you're going through the board. So if you're a few spaces behind somebody that you know, you can try and pass them. And actually, when I did end up passing one of my friends on Duel Links, I got some bonus dice fragments. So that was pretty interesting. I'm not sure if that's a thing that's going on, or maybe I just wasn't quite paying attention. But I'm pretty sure that was something that happens when you actually leapfrog over one of your friends. Maybe for the first time, you're able to get a few little bonus things. So it's just a really neat thing overall. You know, it's nice when you get a few bonus things here and there, whether it's gems or if it's these Millennium Coins or if it's more dice fragments. This is really going to change the way that we're dealing with events. And I hope that these kind of events stick around in the long run, because I really like this. So anyway, take advantage of it. It's going on through September 11th at midnight. So yeah, let me know how you guys are doing. Let me know what you're unlocking. Let me know what kind of cards you're getting out of the card lottery. I'd love to hear about it. And you can reach out to me on Twitter at YuGiOh Deck Talk. It's all one word, at YuGiOh Deck Talk. I'd love to hear from you there. And I think we're going to do a blog article hopefully this week, just kind of breaking things down a little further. That'll be on the WordPress, and that's YuGiOhDeckTalk.wordpress.com. The blog is YuGiOhDeckTalk.wordpress.com. So anyway, check those out, and feel free to get in touch with me on Twitter. Love to hear from you. But anyway, that's it for today's episode. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.